Hey there, everybody. Patrick Clark here with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, coming to you to just kind of let you know what's going on in the real estate business. Today is August 1st, 2024, and a lot of the big changes that everybody's been seeing on the news are going into effect today and finish out by August 17th as far as their implementation. There's been a lot of noise and a lot of racket, and I thought that I would just put together a quick video for you here at the office and kind of discuss just very quickly the high points that you guys need to know as you move forward if you're considering transacting real estate in the state of Arizona specifically. Now, just so you know, California and Nevada, which are the two of the states that we also participate in with our company, we're nationwide and worldwide, but we have basically a franchise that is in all three states. Of those three states, only one is allowing compensation to a buyer's broker in the listing agreement. So I'm going to go through everything with you guys here, and then if you have any questions, please let me know. My phone number is 480-220-3394. Give me a call. Happy to discuss some of these things with you and sort out any confusion you might have. So let's start with seller compensation to buyers. It's being decoupled. What that means is that seller compensation to buyers is no longer visible in the MLS, which is arguably considered in part of the pricing for buyers when they see the price of a home. The cooperating commission to a buyer has always been broadcast to remain competitive. Most sellers have offered those publicly as an incentive. That goes away. For a very long time, I've always called that an incentive, and sure enough, I think most people, especially the Department of Justice, would agree. Sellers can still offer compensation. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Sellers can still offer compensation, but may want to wait to offer compensation until a buyer brings a contract. What does that mean? Well, when I work with a seller, my recommendation is going to be you're going to need to be willing to compensate the agent that brings a buyer, but how much might need to wait now that these percentages are not being broadcast on the MLS. We would hate for you to put more money forward than's needed. So if the agent that brings a buyer is only asking for 2 bananas and you're willing to offer 3, well, then we saved you a full banana. I know that's, you can take from it what you want, how I'm putting that together, but that's the idea. However, statistically, we're in a buyer's market in pretty much every market in the state of Arizona, and I would guess in most places across the country at this point. With the interest rates being what they are and the market being what it is, I don't think not being willing to pay a compensation is a good idea. It just adds to the cost to the buyer, and to get to the end of the specifics of that is a little bit rich. But what I can tell you is if an agent is borrowing money to make a purchase, if they're, because of the new rules that I'll get to for the buyer here in just a second, the buyer is struggling with affordability already, and not offering compensation to their agent increases their out-of-pocket costs. Lenders don't allow those sorts of commissions to be wrapped into the loan. So you're going to need to be careful about that and be thoughtful, because paying compensation is still part of the competition, unfortunately. If we shift into a seller's market, that might change. So let's get to buyers. Buyers are now being required to sign an agreement prior to seeing a home with a realtor. We actually cannot show a home without a prior written agreement. That agreement must contain a term and consideration. The term is however long we want it to be. The consideration is whatever we decide we want it to be. The consideration is the money that will be paid to the buyer's agent. Now, the buyer's agent can negotiate whatever pay they set or feel they can set whatever pay they feel is necessary for them to represent their client. We cannot increase that anymore. In Arizona, we had, let's say it was 3 bananas or whatever is greater. That language has gone away. So if a compensation that's being offered is publicly offered at 4%, there's a buyer broker that I have with my buyer at 3%. That extra, I'm saying percentage, I blew it. That extra percentage would actually go to the buyer. If it couldn't go back to the buyer because of lending guidelines, it would actually go back to the seller. In cash, it would function similarly, but the buyer would just get the credit. So we have to have that agreement so that the buyer knows exactly what the playing field is going to be when they make their offer. When they make their offer, they will likely use something called a seller compensation agreement or addendum, and that will be worked out in the deal. This is the first time in the state of Arizona that commissions have been allowed to be part of the contract. And finally, buyers will be responsible for paying their agents. We kind of sort of talked about that, but I'll get specific. In this agreement, the buyer will have to commit to paying their agent, but when the agent goes into the negotiation for the house that the buyer desires, the buyer will do their best to negotiate a compensation from the seller that will be adequate to the buyer's suiting for them to be compelled to make the purchase. That is the roundabout kind of way of what we're doing. There's a lot more details to it, and I don't have time to give that to you right now because we're just doing this online. We're doing it real quick. But if you have questions and you kind of want to get some more details, I'd be glad to spend as much time on the phone with you as you need to help you get it sorted out. Please feel free to give me a call and we'll talk about it. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.